This is the culture.
Welcome back, guys. This is another episode of the Cinema Wave podcast. My name is Zach Miller, and I am here with one of my hosts, Liz. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Zach?
Today we are talking about Poor Things. Thank you, Liz, for that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Today we're talking about Poor Things. We're talking about Yorgos Lanthimos' latest installment of his fantastical film series genre that he just continues to explore. But before we get into that, be sure to subscribe and follow our channel. We're also on TikTok and Instagram, and we are at Cinema Wave Media as well as Culture Wave Media. So be sure to go follow those handles and subscribe to our content. So now that we got that all laid away, let's get into the conversation. Liz, Poor Things.
Yes.
What's your first impression of this film? There's so much to unpack.
What a film, first of all. Going into it, okay, first of all, let me preface. I love Yorgos's films. Like, I'm a very big fan of his. I've seen almost all of them, probably not some of his earlier stuff, even though I probably should at this point. So I had very high expectations. I kind of already, even if I hated this movie, I probably was just going to love it because why not? But I really loved this movie. I think it's so weird in the best way. I also think it's completely different than some of his other films. We were kind of talking about it a little bit before, but I think his past work, he used to like to look at the dark side of humans and leaned more to psychological thrillers kind of. And this is his like happier, probably his happiest film. It's not very dark. It definitely covers some heavy topics, but in terms of like gore or horror, I mean, he doesn't do horror, but he definitely does intense scenes. Poor Things is not that. Poor Things is a story about a woman going out into the world and learning about life. Becoming liberated both sexually and emotionally. It's kind of it's based off kind of Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And taking a woman who I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but essentially she is reconstructed into a being, and so the film follows her as she is going through like, I don't want to say adolescence, but it's kind of like naive into being shocked by the world, into learning the power that she has in the world, and then eventually learning how to stand on her own 2 feet and start making real decisions. I think it's just a beautiful film. I think it's funny. It's shocking. There is a lot of nudity in it. So I wasn't prepared for that. But I think sometimes nudity bothers me when it's not warranted. And I think that this film actually warranted it because it's supposed to show the like sexual liberation that she's feeling.
Yeah, I think the film has so much to offer artistically, with all the filmmaking tropes that go into it, as well as just what is trying to be said. I mean, there's just so much behind the story that, you know, this is a person who is basically born into the world, and it's the Frankensteinian complex of like, she's experiencing the world for the first time in the first couple days, couple weeks, months, as a full-grown woman. So she has no idea of what social boundaries are. Like, she has no idea of what it means to be a woman in that type of time period. She has no construct of, you know, what kind of rules are we supposed to follow. So it's so chaotic in the best way possible. And I think that Yorgos uses so many different ways to illustrate that to the viewer, both through the set design and just everything with the performances, and how he uses very nice stereotypes for the characters too. Like, Mark Ruffalo is a very greedy, manipulative person. Rami Youssef is a really great, nurturing person. And then Willem Dafoe is a father figure, I guess, but he's
God.
Yes, exactly. His name is literally God for abbreviation. So there's just a lot to get into with this film. I think I'd honestly have to watch it several other times to pick up everything.
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to get into. So yeah, just that. Those are our first thoughts. But do you want to talk about Emma Stone and just like what her role is in the movie? We don't have to get into all of her performance yet.
We won't get into spoilers yet, but I think she is definitely the lead in this film, and she carries that on her back. The performance is incredible. I would say it's probably the best of her career.
I say so too. Yeah.
For me, she hasn't done anything this, I don't want to say quirky because it's so much more than quirky, since like her early films when she wasn't really a big star. I feel like this is finally the role where she gets to be super weird and neurotic and all over the place and have fun while also telling a deeply meaning like theme throughout the whole thing, which is about not being afraid to go out into the world and explore things. And yeah, you might be making mistakes, or you might fall on your ass sometimes, but you're still going to get back up and go figure it out again. And I think she just does a really beautiful job of playing that naivety in the beginning, but then also transitioning into a full-blown adult at the end. And I really don't know other people that could have pulled this off without making it look like she was crazy, this character, because she doesn't really touch into that at all. There's no moment that you're like, oh, she is losing it or delusional. You just fully look at that at Bella Baxter is the character.
Yeah.
What a great character name. But yeah, she just does a really great job of playing it honestly and not making her feel stupid.
Yes.
You know? Because it easily could have been like, oh, okay, she doesn't know how to do this. She just didn't play her stupid. She just played her as somebody that had never experienced it before and was experiencing it for the first time. Yeah. Which I appreciated.
Yeah. It could have just been the slapstick, classic Frankenstein too, where, he's just a mumbling idiot and he's like walking around and he can't verbally talk. Like that's what we know as Frankenstein. So for them to go off of this novel, that is based off of, it's called Poor Things 2, is 1992 Alistair Gray's novel, but it's another loose interpretation of Frankenstein. So for her to add the depth of, how can we make this character become an infant to full-grown womanhood in a short time span? And she actually talked about that she developed 5 different stages for her performance to actually dissect, and you can see the transition and the overall arc of her character throughout the whole movie. So I think that like there's by the end of the movie, she's not that infant self, and she's understood the world enough with what she goes through that she's trying to push away the naivete and the discourse that happens. I think there's just like a lot of hurdles that she's getting over by the end, and she's trying to actually liberate herself. Like she has an understanding of people and how she's been manipulated, and then she like that's a very clean transition, because it starts off with her being aloof, and then she becomes naive, like, oh, I want to help people, like there's the poor scene we'll get into, and then just like she wants to help the poor. Oh, you can't help the poor because the poor is this huge thing, but she doesn't know that because she's brand new to it and the concept of that. But she's a very literal person, a very honest person in that midsection of the movie, and then later on she becomes that fully developed woman liberation moment, which is great. So for her to have that fluid arc throughout it, and then for Yorgos to maintain that too, and just like direct that arc is super great. And I think it complements the story really well, and it gives this super in the backdrop of the crazy atmosphere that it happens. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I also read somewhere that they filmed out of order, because they were on soundstage, and so they needed to shoot everything on that soundstage on that time frame. So like for her to be able to have those different points and make them such clear differences, but then also be shooting out of order. I mean, that's incredibly hard to do. And from what I see, she did it beautifully. Yeah. Like flawless. I really I don't have any complaint about her performance at all. I also think that she, like for me, she really carried this film and she made every moment just so funny. She really just cracked me up at some moments. And I know that the screenplay, like we'll talk more about the writing. The writing itself was very funny, but I just think the way that she was able to manifest the delivery also in her body. She was doing a lot of physical comedy and a lot of physical work, which is a daunting task. Like that's hard to do, especially on film, because sometimes, I don't know what you think, but sometimes when I see an actor doing a lot of physical work on camera, it can seem like a lot just because when you're doing too much on film, it picks up every little detail. But I don't know, the work she was doing was just incredible because it added to the character. It didn't make me distracted. I was like, okay, I'm understanding Bella's character more like through her movements. Like I'd love to talk to her and be like, what exercises did you do to find Bella's walk or find just some of her mannerisms? Like it was such interesting acting work. And I'd be interested to know if like Lanthimos had an opinion on it or if he was just like, go find Bella and then come back to me and then we'll collaborate. I'd love to know more about the process.
I know she was mentioning in a couple of her interviews that there was a strong rehearsal period where all of the actors would get together and then they would get to this physical and dance collaborative couple days or I don't know, weeks where they were just kind of breaking the ice and the tension of, you know, we're going to be all over each other for the next however months of shooting. So let's get like just vulnerable with ourselves, with our bodies, because this story demands a very high intensity, like silliness in a way. And she says like, oh yeah, it does look silly, but overall, like it was very nice to be in that space and just have that freedom to do things and try things. So for Yorgos to set that up and just break the ice and set up like how different this experience is going to be than just rehearsing the lines and stuff. And then they would also do some mirroring exercises where they would just try and mirror everyone's movements or expressions and things like that. So it was a lot of like almost theatrical stuff, and a lot of the moments in this movie are pretty performative, you know, like there is a lot of like what you're saying with the physical movement too. So that was definitely important to Bella's infancy in the beginning. Like Emma was also saying that her body is a full-grown healthy woman's body, but her brain is like catching up. Like imagine that. And she said, I couldn't play it stupid. Like you have to play it as just something so different where like you have to do something like that. You're not like dumb and you're not like having problems. You're kind of just like your brain is not developed to that age. So what does that look like physically? If you had a small brain and then everything else was caught up, like what would that look like? So they tried to invent their own style with that. And I respected that a lot. And just the way that Yorgos could incorporate a pretty beautiful arc and just encompassing all these worldly things while just having such silliness. And I also wrote down like satirical Shakespeare, like the way that they would talk was just so like succinct and so sharp, but it was hilarious every time they would like spit dialect off of each other. It was just great. Like there's amazing quotes all throughout this movie, and then each of the actors were phenomenal with their timing too. So
well, let's get into spoilers at this point. If you have not seen the film, you should go check it out. It's getting a lot of buzz from critics, audience. I think it's going to be a big one with the award scene. So you should go. It's in theaters right now. And so from this point on, we are going to get into spoilers. So leave if you haven't seen it. Or stay if you want.
Stick around.
Stick around if you want to
hear. It'll be
hear.
a much different conversation than what you want.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're introduced to this world of just. It's such an interesting world that Lanthimos built because it's not completely fantastical, but it's also not a real today society. It's kind of.
It's period. Yeah.
It's period, but also I just keep thinking of the word fantastical because
like surreal.
Yes. Very storybook-ish. And I think a part of it is because you enter this world of this man, played by Willem Dafoe, who is this, I don't want to say mad scientist, but he's just like a creator. I guess we'll call him.
He's definitely pretty nutty, though.
He's crazy. He's like a creator who created Bella in the beginning is all that you know. That she refers to him as God. He is her creator, and he has a very soft spot for her. He loves her. He treats her as a daughter. But then also you see throughout the house like these weird creatures running around. Amazing. You see like what was it, like a dog on like a duck's body or something? Yeah.
There was like a chicken and a pug on the head.
Like crazy stuff. Together. And so it's just like Frankenstein to a T of him piecing all these bodies together. And then he also teaches like a class.
Yeah.
And so you're introduced to Bella. He ends up bringing in one of his students to come and just kind of like watch and take notes on her. And then the story unfolds from there, where Mark Ruffalo's character comes in. I don't remember who is Mark Ruffalo's character in the beginning.
He's kind of a lawyer who steps in, and Rami Youssef is like, I'm falling for Bella, and then Willem is like, you guys got to get married, and then he's like, what? So then they eventually arrange a marriage, and then Mark Ruffalo steps in, and he's like, oh, you don't want to marry that guy. You don't want to marry him. And then he kind of impedes that entire process, and then they run away together because he's like, I can show you everything about the world.
He convinces her.
And he's like, she's like, I don't know what it's like out there. I want to go. So I'm gonna go. And then she says, I'll be back, and we'll be married when I come back. And then the whole story goes into,
it just shifts completely because here you think that she's going to go on like a fantastical adventure and go rule the world, but really it ends up just being like her and Mark Ruffalo having sex for like 3 days straight, and her just like loving it. And it just then kind of like a quote, it like takes off her rose-colored glasses and she starts to like see the world for what it is. I think it also starts off in black and white. Yeah, and then
when she gets out, it turns to color.
Right. Which, I mean, a lot of films have been doing that this season. I don't know what, maybe I don't know what everybody decided, but I mean, I think it worked in this film. And it just goes on this huge trip of her exploring her sexuality with him, but then also realizing that maybe he's not the nicest person.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just love it. I think it's a really interesting film. I also, so I want to go back to what I was talking about before of Yorgos's other films. This one's very different. Have you seen a lot of his films or only a couple?
I've seen The Lobster. I've seen The Favorite. Killing of a Sacred Deer and Dogtooth are the only ones that I need to see. And I think he has a couple shorts and stuff, but yeah.
But yeah, so I mean,
different, very
different. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like all of his other films are just very dark.
They are dark,
very dark. They, I think he explains human relationships too, and how you can use other people a lot in his other films. Yeah. And I think the interesting thing that makes Poor Things different is fully Bella Baxter's character of not being able to manipulate people because she doesn't fully understand it. Yeah. And another thing that makes the character different than all of his other ones is there's no motive to try to manipulate people with her words. She is just fully
honest. Yeah.
And like some of the funniest scenes happen because she's just blurting things out. Like one of my favorite ones was when I think they're on the boat at this point, and he's like kidnapped her and on the boat, and they're at the dinner, and she just like spits out her food, and he's like, Bella. Yeah. And she's like, why would I want this if it's disgusting?
If it's revolting.
Like, it's revolting. Why would I want this in my mouth?
Yeah.
And like the woman then makes like a joke about it. It's just such smart writing. And so witty, but also like I can just tell that he didn't want to make her seem dumb. He wanted to be like, no, she is an intelligent person. She just hasn't lived a lot of life. Yeah. Which I then think a lot of people can probably relate to, that they're like, I just haven't lived a lot of life yet. I just need to go out there and experience things in order to have an opinion on the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think it was like if you took somebody from like a different planet and then you just dropped them in the earth, like they're kind of moseying around, like doing the same experience of like, wait, why would I eat this? Or why would I do that? Or if you took someone from 200 years ago and you dropped them in today, like they have no awareness of what like social norms are, you know, like they're kind of just interacting. Or let's go back to a Christmas classic, Elf. He has no idea what to do in New York City. So like that kind of situational humor was amazing. I thought that they really took hold of that to the fullest extent, and it paid off all the time. I think that was literally most of the movie, how it was driven by situations that were unfamiliar to her. And then there were just the other hilarious, like the comedy of this film, like there's visual comedy with the surroundings, then there's that satirical sense, and then there's just like a lot of risque scenes, like where she's going through like to us it's like, oh my gosh, like how is she just putting her body out there like that easy? And it's the same thing with the filmmakers too. They're like, or the characters in the movie, they're like, oh, like you're gonna do that, like are you sure? And then she's just like, yeah, like whatever. Like it's a liberating experience because she doesn't know anything else, you know? Like she doesn't have to be tied to anything that her society says. So like that's another big critique.
Yeah, she doesn't have limitations because she hasn't known the world that she's living in long enough to know those limitations. Yeah. And I think that's really relevant. And this is when the writing starts to become very smart in having a commentary on our society. Is I keep thinking of when she eventually starts working in a brothel. Yeah. And the what it is like the girls line up and the guy comes in and like picks one of them, and she's all of a sudden like, why do the guys pick us? Why don't we pick them? Like why don't we volunteer if we want to like have sex with them? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? Like that's not how it is. That's just not how it's done. And she's just like, well, surely it can be changed, right? And it's just such smart writing of having commentary without making it hitting the audience over the face, because it is like, oh yeah, why can't it just be switched? And for the people other than Bella, they're like, well, it's because how it's been. But for her, she's like, just change it.
Yeah, she's not challenging it off of like, oh, it has to change, because she doesn't know anything before. She's like, I want to challenge this because like she's oblivious to it, and she has no idea like why it would be a certain way, because it's clearly not benefiting the women in the brothel. So she's like, well, like it's not going to help me if I have to sleep with this guy, and like that doesn't seem fair, and I'm getting paid for it, so like shouldn't I have a say in that? And then they're like, no,
and they're like, no, sit down, honey, like don't worry.
And then she's obviously having a miserable time, but through those experiences and the longer that she's with Duncan, Mark Ruffalo, she learns and becomes more accustomed to like the world atrocities, like as well as being manipulated, people taking advantage of her. You know, the world is not all everything it's chalked up to be. It's beautiful at some points where she visits places, and then other places she's seeing some pretty
dark
disparaging things. Yeah, like it's not good. So there's just a lot packed into her character, and then just how she sees the world is how it's raising awareness to how we should also see the world at points too, which is really cool. Yeah.
Let's talk about Mark Ruffalo's performance.
Yeah. I need to talk about Mark
We
Ruffalo.
got to talk about it. Very, very different than his whole career, I feel like. I think he's taking a step out. What did you think of it, Zach?
I loved it. I've seen so many times, and I feel bad for the guy, but he was like terrified to do something like this because he's like so morally the opposite of what this character is. Like, this guy is a deplorable, manipulative, conniving person, and he just takes advantage of any situation that he can get away with. So Mark Ruffalo being like the guy that he is, and he tries to take on a role like this, it's definitely nice to see a change. And he said that he was tired of getting like the sad dad roles because he was getting like
he gets them
sad, which is not far off. I mean, I love his roles before this as well, but it was so nice to see him also be liberated in a sense of like he's always looking for more, and for someone to take a chance on him for this. But I also understand like being so scared to do that and being entrusted with that position in the film would be like so daring to anybody who gets that achievement. And I mean, he ran away with it for me, and I thought he was great. His comedic timing was fantastic.
He was very funny.
Yeah, like there was the one scene where I think they had sex for the first time, and then she said, "Oh, this was amazing. How do people not do this all the time?" And he goes, "Well, even men have their limits." And then she goes, "Oh, is that a weakness of this?" And he goes, "I suppose it is." It was so good. Like, it wasn't calling attention to itself. They were just these
like
hilarious
lines.
people. Yeah, it was just their chemistry together. Like, they were all like, Bella was in her own world, Mark Ruffalo was in his own world. And they just clash on screen, and sometimes they have great chemistry, and then when they start to get conflicted with each other, they're still just in their own headspace, and he's just like running away with his persona. And I loved like just how he would just take over with his like he's also just what's the word, like he can't he also is not dang it, I can't figure it out.
You can't figure.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about people. I guess what I'm trying to say. I don't know what the word. I'm blanking on the word for that.
Who?
Like,
the character or Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo. No, I'm sorry. Duncan. Like, he doesn't care about people.
Mark Ruffalo doesn't care about
is
people.
Duncan. Yeah, no. No, Duncan, he just doesn't care about people, but then he's so greedy at points that...
Well, he uses people.
Yeah.
Because he sees... He saw Bella, and he was like, okay, I can have this beautiful woman and just like use her as much as I want to. And then she ends up really messing up and like giving away all his money. And that's when he's just like...
Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, he has a complete meltdown.
And then he finds out that she's also sleeping with other people. And so then that also ends it for him. I really loved his performance. I will say, with how good Emma Stone was, though, her arc was just so big and beautiful. I wish he had a little bit more of an arc. I think his character, for me, it started and ended a little bit on the same note. I wish it was kind of like he came in and didn't show all his cards, at least in the beginning. So then by the end of it, we were like, okay, this is a bad guy. Yeah. Or like started off as a bad guy who gets everything that he wants and then end up being like the butt of the joke of like, oh, he's actually a loser who cares about him. I wish there was a little bit more of a difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he's already stepping into a world that he's very uncomfortable with, to be going against Emma Stone, who she showed up to play. She was like, let's do this. I'm ready. And I did read something that Mark Ruffalo, he was not really about the like sex scenes and like the nudity, because he says too, which I think a lot of people say, like, unless it's prevalent or has a reason for it, he doesn't do it. Yeah. And so for him, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of nudity in this film. And so he probably was a little set off on it. But he came out and said that Emma Stone was the reason that he ended up being okay with it, because she was like, no, this is for a reason. And it doesn't have to be like that awkward, like, oh, like we're two actors. She's like, let's just have fun with it and like figure this out.
Yeah.
and make it a part of the story,
Yeah.
which I think helps, because if she takes the lead and makes it not uncomfortable, I think everybody else probably followed her. And that's what made this film so successful, is that everybody was throwing in all their imagination and willing to go as far as they possibly could.
Yeah.
I mean, there was something that I read too. I think I just had it up, that Willem Dafoe, where was it? Oh, he said like about the makeup process. Have you heard this? That he said it was 4 hours every morning getting into makeup,
gosh.
and then 2 hours after to get
Wow.
out of it. And so he's like, I'm showing up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the chair, meditating and trying to deal with standing still, because you can't sleep. It's intricate enough that you've got to work with the people applying it.
Wow.
So
That's unbelievable.
I feel like to also have that dedication to, I mean, his makeup was gorgeous. Not gorgeous, but like great work from the makeup designers. It looked flawless. And to have that dedication and will to just be sitting in makeup for 4 hours every day, they must have all just been like, let's do this. Let's get together and figure out this film.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot that they put into it, and I mean everything just kind of paid off. And I like there's another thing I want to talk about is like all the work that would involve too, just with especially like the set design on this. If this movie does not win the Oscar for production design, I've given up. Like I will give up. I will sell it out. Like I don't know what else you need to do.
You're boycotting?
Yes.
Wow, Zach.
I will. I mean, look, like everything that I've looked at is people are like, there were hand stitched walls. There were like this was not a facade of just couple buildings and stuff these were not just storefronts. There was everything involved with where they were, all the color palette, all of the care into making this like steampunk Victorian surrealist thing. Like this was one of the most unique visually looking films I've ever seen, and it was just so impressive what they were able to pull off. And I love what Yorgos said was like, this is how Bella is seeing the world. Like we want to see it through her eyes, and it's looking like this huge glamorous set pieces and everything like that. And then when it has the stark contrast of like this abysmal, like there's Paris and stuff that she doesn't have great experiences in, and then she sees the one setting with the poor, and there's like the broken staircase, like she can't visually get to the poor, like she can't service that, and then there's the higher class that's up on the hill, and then they're down in the canyon. Like there is so much visual imagery that services the story. It's the same thing with even the cinematography, which we'll get into too, but like there's like just as much as the performances, this movie was just on steroids in every sense. It felt like a fever dream.
Literally.
So give me your thoughts on that too.
I mean, it's just so imaginary what he did, and I keep saying this, but it was so different than what Yorgos usually does. It's so much color. Usually he's much more simple sets, kind of muted tones, and this he was just like, all right, let's do this, let's really embrace the like colorfulness and just the first time of seeing things. I mean, also the costumes.
Oh my gosh, that too. That should win.
It should absolutely win, because it wasn't also just simple, oh, like let's do pretty colorful patterns. It was over the top, huge puffy sleeves, like her wearing shorts all the time with like these long capes. I just loved it. It was so off the beaten track, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And I think that they set themselves up really well for that transition of going black and white to color, because of the camera work that they did with the black and white shots. I mean, we were talking about it before, a little bit of the what's it called? I keep messing up the name of the shot.
Oh, the fisheye lens?
The fisheye lens.
Yeah. You want to talk about the cinematography?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it, Zach.
So I did some research on like how they shot this movie, and on The Favorite, their DP Robbie Ryan, who was the same one on this one too. In The Favorite, they shot on a 6mm lens.
Okay.
And Robbie Ryan said, I thought that was the widest that they could go. And not only he found out that there is a 4mm Optex lens, and this is originally meant for a 16 millimeter camera. So when you pop your lens into the camera, you're going to try and get a different box around it, basically, like in a nutshell. That's kind of what the science is. But so that is the reason for a lot of the vignette, the black like silhouette around it, is because it was meant for a 16 millimeter camera, but it went on to a 35. So that black was kind of like filling in. So they were just doing a number of tests to see what would visually give a good film. And they've never done this combination before, to my knowledge. So when they applied this, that's what they got, and they were like, okay, let's do that. And then Robbie Ryan was saying he wanted to create an awkward feel consistent with the feeling of the world and the vastness, and then just like looking into another world, creating a portal like atmosphere, which I completely got from that. And
me too.
The distortion, I think, fit with Poor Things a little more than The Favorite. Like, I liked The Favorite a lot.
Me too.
It was a period piece, and it was straight like royalty and that kind of thing. And there were definitely points where it was meant to off-put you. But I think with this one, because it was so imaginary, like you were saying, like it just totally accentuated everything else that was going on. But yeah, what did you think of like more of the stuff, cinematography?
I mean, I was just blown away by it. Also because they were doing things that like pushing the envelope a little bit. And I just think it's such a great film because you're seeing all these departments honestly putting out their best work.
Yeah.
Like you have makeup and hair putting out their best work, costume putting out their best designs. And then you also have the photography just being pushing the envelope and being like, okay, let's try this. Let's see how like weird we can kind of get this without making it bad.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a hard line to be towing of how quirky and off, like just off, can you make something without it being unpalpable for the audience?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think they did great. Honestly, I think this is I understand now why it's getting such hype. I think it's such a fun film to watch. I am curious though, is there anything that you didn't like about it, or do you think it's a pretty perfect film?
I don't know if there's anything. I think I'd have to do a rewatch to really see if there was something that threw me off. I think it gets a little repetitive in the brothel, just not even for the sense of nudity, but just the lesson she's learning in that sequence. There's a number of scenes where she's going through hilarious moments where, you know, some of the men she encounters, like the one guy has a claw for a hand.
Terrifying looking.
Then there's a dad that walks in with his two kids.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And then he's like, all right, kids, I'm going to show you how to have sex. And then he starts teaching.
It's like absurd. It's crazy.
It's very absurd. And I mean, it's definitely degrading in a sense for Emma Stone. Like that would be degrading for anybody. So I understand why it was in the movie.
But it's not degrading to like the character of Bella.
No,
that's the crazy thing, is that her character the whole time, she's just like, yeah, I want to be doing this. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't want to.
Yeah, she sees it as just another experience, and then she's just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make some money, and then she returns to Mark Ruffalo. She's like, yeah, I made some money for us.
Yeah, and he's like, what
did you do, Bella? Bella, it was amazing. So I don't know if there's, but that wasn't like a huge takeaway for me. That wasn't like a
deal breaker.
No, yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker. Like could like if that was me making the film, which is, you know, it's not something that I'm not gonna get picky about that, I guess. So like there's always little things here and there with every film if you look at it, but I can understand why it was input, but I don't think there were any deal breakers for me. But didn't you have like a couple things?
Yeah, so I think it was a little long. The ending, I thought the beginning, the first, like, definitely the first half was great, went by really fast. It was the ending part when all of a sudden she's back with Willem Dafoe, God's character. And then we find out that she has a husband from before, when she was, I forgot her prior name before she became Bella. But all of a sudden this man walks in and he's like, you are my wife. Like, we were married before you she essentially tried to like kill herself.
Yeah.
And then she's like, all of a sudden is like, oh, I'm going to go with him or like you. I'm going to go and like see what this life is and like go and live with him. And I just felt like the film was about to wrap up in a really nice way and it could have been anything. And then all of a sudden we took this detour into like this psycho controlling man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think it was necessary for me.
Yeah.
It kind of just started dragging on of me being like, okay, I get it. It's another guy. And like, I get it. She's going to escape him and then go back to the family.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was needed. I think that also would have taken out about 15 minutes, which then wouldn't have made the film feel as long as it did towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that was needed, that part?
I don't think it was 100% needed, but I think it was good that they had some background to her of why she wanted to kill herself, and you know that somebody did eventually come looking for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be like kind of a plot hole if that wasn't in there. But I think it was like a longer. I think the timing of it was definitely abrupt, like because it was pretty much wrapping up the third act.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I think it's, yeah.
I didn't mind him kind of showing up at the wedding part because I got that of like, okay, Mark Ruffalo's character is so distraught that he's trying everything that he can to not have her marry this person. I just didn't like that she all of a sudden was like, I'm going to go with him. And I get it that it's supposed to be that she's impulsive now and is trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life at this point. But I don't know. It felt very off.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was a choice that the character actually would have made. It was just kind of like, oh, let's go down this. And
I was going to say, I think to go over what you're saying, my impression by that point in the story was that she learned not to get manipulated anymore. Yeah. So I think for her to just whimsically give into that again didn't make much sense.
No, because it was like, what did she learn then at the brothel?
Right. Yeah. And like, she clearly knows that Duncan took advantage of her. Yeah. And then Duncan was literally behind him. So why would you buy into that again?
Yeah.
And then just be like, oh, well, I guess that makes sense. If he did love me originally, I should go. So, and then Rami Youssef's character has been nothing but kind and generous to her.
He's just a pushover.
He is a pushover to a point. Yeah. He's definitely, but at least he's like the one redeemable male in the movie.
He's literally.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that was part of it. But
I just didn't like that part because I did like the ending. I liked how they she ends up she starts studying to be like a doctor, like the next person. And then I don't know. Part of me thinks they only introduced that husband because they wanted to turn him into one of the creatures.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I feel like Yorgos had like that crazy idea of, ooh, she should do a surgery on somebody, but who would she do it on? Like a part of me thinks do it to Ruffalo's character. Mm-hmm. I think they could have totally not brought in that additional male.
You know what I thought they were pushing, which is how I wanted it to end, was so Willem was like giving his whole backstory, the whole movie. And he's like, you know, people don't see me as this beautiful person because I'm physically scarred. Like they don't see my work as like important, you know? So I thought that because he was on his way out, that they were going to take his brain and put it in to the husband's. Because then he would be a beautiful person and then he could still go on creating.
Wow.
I was hoping that might happen.
That would have been a better ending.
Really?
No, I know. Yes. You know what? It would have been a better one than, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird that they now have like this random guy.
Yeah. Well, I did. That's what. And the only reason I did think that was because I thought they were bringing him in for this bigger reason.
Like, but instead, she just wanted to make him into,
which is fair too. Yeah.
A cow or a goat.
A goat. Yeah. Put a goat's brain in him. Yeah, that was great. I mean, and that was a great image to end on too.
It's so wild. I mean, this film really does have just like small little details that I feel like on second or even third viewings, you'd still catch up on things that you didn't see on the first time.
Oh, absolutely.
And even lines that were fun. I mean, there were moments that I was laughing so hard that I didn't hear the next line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The dialogue. I really want to just like read the script sometime and just unpack it. Like there's one line I have here where she says, she's talking to Rami Youssef's character Max, and she says, Wedderburn became much weepy and swearing when he discovered my whoring. I find myself, and then he goes, I find myself merely jealous of the men's time with you, rather than any moral aspirations against you. It is your body, Bella Baxter, yours to give freely. And then she goes, I generally charge 30 francs. And she goes, well, that seems low.
It's so
like,
good.
Like the timing of that is just like, who can think of that? I don't, it's unbelievable because it's not Shakespeare, but it has that
like British
tempo
wit,
of it. Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
No, it's so funny. It's a really good film.
What's some of your final thoughts on the film before we give scores?
My final thoughts are, I don't think it's my favorite of Yorgos's. I still think, I don't know, The Lobster for me just like holds a soft spot in my heart, but this it's up there. It's such an impressive film. It's also like I said, I think I said this before, but Emma Stone, I think it's her best performance that I've seen yet.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. Emma Stone carries this movie like in ways that I didn't think she could carry, like just being a lead actress. And like, I knew she was going to be the powerhouse cell of this film. But just for her as a performer and an artist, she does things that like, she goes places I've never seen her go. And like you were saying, I don't think there's anyone else in Hollywood that has this skill set to play this character at this point in time.
I agree.
And she's just so well tailored to this part. And for her to be so thoroughly understanding of the material and everything that comes with that is unbelievable. So yeah, I was just, round of applause for Emma Stone and everything that came with it. And then Yorgos's vision for the project too, for it to be like it almost his other projects, The Lobster and like The Favorite is kind of a different world of his, separate from The Lobster, but he used to have like very naturalistic environments, like The Lobster has some interesting environments to it, but not anything like this.
This is a total different dimension.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I wanted to add too was that he's worked with Searchlight before, and this is, I think, their fourth project together with Searchlight. And then he has another one coming out soon with Emma Stone next year that's due out. It's called Kinds of Kindness. There's no plot details yet, but it's also going to star Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, and Hunter Schafer with Margaret Qualley,
who was also in this.
Yes, yeah. So that's cool that she's also getting another recurring role, and Willem Dafoe is going to come back. But yeah, this film is also one of many for Searchlight that's having a big year. We got Poor Things, Next Goal Wins, All the Strangers in Theater Camp just for this year. And last year was Banshees of Inisherin, The Menu, Fresh, Empire of Light, just to name a few. So Searchlight's been doing great. And it's nice to see that another studio is going to back some independent work like this. And I think it's only like an indie studio that would let, or an indie label that would let free range of a project like this happen, like you're not letting Disney do this.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine the pitch? So it's a female Frankenstein who there's about 30 sex scenes.
Yes. Yeah. She goes and just has sexual relations with a lot of the men that she meets, and then has all this liberating experiences. But yeah, there's like I said, there's so much to this film that thank you, Searchlight, for letting this happen. And just, these are the kind of movies that like really they just accent the other movie, like blockbusters and stuff like that. Like every time now and again, you need those breaks from the bigger movies, and you need something a little smaller, a little more refined for somebody's taste buds. And this is just something that like moviegoers like us definitely appreciate. So it's really cool. But yeah, I mean,
should we do?
Yeah.
Well, should we talk awards or should we do scores?
Go awards first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do we think? Let's start directing. Yorgos?
Yeah, I think he gets a nom.
Absolutely. I think so. I think he's totally going to get one. And so Emma Stone, I'm locked in that I would even say that she's going to win.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. Yeah, I think she's absolutely getting nominated, and there's really, I think we were talking about this off camera. There's
Yeah.
not many actresses this year that can compete with her range in this. So
There's great performances,
mhm,
but it's just like on another level.
yeah,
It's something that I haven't seen before.
yeah.
What do you think about Ruffalo or Dafoe?
I would like Ruffalo to get a nom, but I don't think, like, I think there's better supporting actor performances this year, so he might get left out. I think Willem might get nominated. I'm not sure. I know he's getting other buzz from the other award shows, and they've both gotten nominated for a couple of them too. So yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think about those two?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just because it's not really. All right. Willem Dafoe, I feel like I've seen him kind of in this realm before, so it's not really anything that I was surprised about. Ruffalo, he is pushing himself, so I feel like maybe they'd throw him one just to be like, we like this, keep going.
Yeah.
But I don't think either of them would win.
I don't think they would win
no.
either. I think a nom is fair enough, but
Yeah.
but it's a stacked year, so
It is. There's
might
a
get
lot
left out.
happening.
Yeah.
What else? So you think production design?
I think it has to win production design. I think there's a couple great competitors, but this one is literally on steroids.
What do you think is like the closest competitor? I think Priscilla's close.
Priscilla's in there. I mean, it's like the greatest ones this year undoubtedly service their own stories. Priscilla's servicing its story in a lot of great ways. It's obviously not the same as this, but
no, it's two different things.
and it couldn't be the same as this. Like, it would just be wrong for that to be anything like that. But yeah, Priscilla, Oppenheimer. I like what they did with period and holdovers.
Barbie?
Barbie's another good one. Lots of great stuff there. There's a couple other period ones. I'm trying to remember. There's so many. I gotta recap. There's a lot of great movies. Maestro, maybe. There's a lot. There's a lot going.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is definitely going to be in Best Picture.
Absolutely, it has to be.
I think solid nom. Do you think it would win?
Well, if we're going back to some of the quirky winners that have won, like Shape of Water, like there's just so many like artsy films that have won surprisingly sometimes. Like even Everything Everywhere All at Once is pretty artsy for a Best Picture winner. I think it's got a good shot. I think the biggest one because of the cast is Oppenheimer. I think that has a good shot at Best Picture.
Okay.
But
I mean, Poor Things did win the what's the award? It was at Venice, right?
Oh, the Palme d'Or, or that's
no. Hold on, I gotta find
the Golden Lion.
I think it was the Golden Lion
at Venice. At Venice?
Hold on one second. Hold on.
I think you're right. It's got a good shot. I think it's got a great shot at just there. Like we said, there's so much going for it. It's got everything you could want in a movie. Every department was working super hard to achieve what they did. So
it did win the Golden Lion.
Golden Lion. Okay, cool. So do you think it could win?
I think it could win.
Yeah.
I do, people. I think it could win.
What? And then what else? What, like, costumes has to win. Costumes
definitely getting a nom.
I think I'm putting like ballot in for.
Are you?
Yeah,
for win?
Absolutely. Costume. It has to.
Okay.
Has to. I mean, there's another great series of competitors, but yeah.
I know, but I just think of like all the Barbie archives.
Barbie's got good stuff too.
Barbie's got great stuff.
Barbie's got great costumes.
Okay, let's do scores.
Let's do scores. Go ahead.
I am going to give this I'm going to stick with the thread that I've been doing, and I'm going to do a solid 9.5.
Oh, wow.
Shy of a 10.
Wow. Is there a reason? Just the ending part that you were?
No, the only reason is that this didn't move me.
Really?
as a film, like as much as like other ones have. Like I think it's a very entertaining film, and I think it has a good. What?
Holy, we just had the whole conversation
Like,
about her character arc.
I think it's a great character arc, but you know what? You guys know me. I love a good cry at the end of the day. I like being emotionally affected. I wasn't emotionally affected. I was inspired. But I was not emotionally moved.
I damn near fell out of my chair, Liz.
And so,
whoa, what?
like some other ones, like the big ones for me this year have just like ripped my heart out and like pushed me off the bridge.
This didn't push.
This didn't push me off.
It didn't push you off the bridge when they were literally seeing dead babies in a canyon.
No. This would probably be like number 6 for me. It's just shy of 5.
What is it? What do we measure the scale of?
Okay, so right now,
like, tell me how. Does Barbie punch you more emotionally than this? Oh, all right. I mean, I guess.
Are you kidding me? When they're showing the montage of all the real women in Barbie,
yeah,
and she's like, "What was I made for?"
Yeah. Oh, it's
don't even
great.
get me started.
It punches you, but that's the last 20 minutes.
So.
Okay, this was beating me down.
No, it's still good. It's a high score, 9.5.
Oh, it is high.
I'll tell you what's above it.
That was such a crazy, like I thought.
You thought it was going to be a 10?
No, I thought we were on the same page with the emotional. That's so funny.
It's very inspiring.
Yeah.
I like the story. I think they bring it. I think they have a good point of view. But like the movies that moved me this year are. I'm sure you guys probably know at this point. It's
Past Lives,
All of Us Strangers, Maestro even moved me. Barbie, Iron Claw moved me more than this movie did.
Okay. Oh well, look, those
yeah,
are fair. Those are fair. Yeah, I like.
But it's number 6 for me. It's really great film. There's too many though.
There are too many.
All right, give me yours.
I'm going 10. Well, look, like, and that's not to like. I actually agree with like pretty much everything you're saying, and yeah, I thought this movie was just so unique. With I've never seen anything like this. Like in a brief amount of words, I've never seen anything like the scale of what they did, the surrealness of making it also easy to understand. You know, like there's a lot of really artsy films out there. A lot of them foreign films or like expressionistic styles. But this one was digestible, but it was also thematic, and it had a lot of profound things to say while it was giving you that quirky energy of just satire and obliviousness and carefree attitude. So I liked a lot of what was going for it. And so it was just for its uniqueness alone. I want to say it's 10 for me. And there's a lot of 10s this year, or a lot close to it, you know.
I know.
So it's good.
It's good. It's good year.
It's good. It's good. It's a good year.
Well,
does that wrap it up for us, Liz?
That wraps
Do you have
it up
anything
for
left
me.
to say? Are you gonna sweep me out of the rug again?
As much as you guys just ripped me apart, I do love this movie. I think it's really good, and I think that it's gonna win. I said that it was gonna win Best Film, so like.
Look, I'm just giving you a hard time, to be honest. That's just what it is.
I'm gonna start campaigning for Barbie to win Best Picture. No, okay, it won't.
Look, it'll probably be in there. So
I think Poor Things will win Best Picture. I'm stating it right
now. That's good. That's good. I like that early prediction. Well, I think that's gonna do it. I think that's gonna wrap up another episode of the Cinema Wave podcast for us. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a great conversation about Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos' latest film. There's a lot to talk about with this movie, so I think you should rewatch the whole thing if you really are interested. But be sure to subscribe and follow us on our Cinema Wave podcast channel on Instagram and TikTok. And then there's also a Culture Wave media page that we would like you to follow. Okay, so just follow our pages, and we love all the work that we're doing right now, and we're super happy to share it with you guys. So thank you for following us along the journey, and we'll see you next time.